Check. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Sounds good.
All right. So about this distance.
I'm not hearing any noise this time.
Check.
Yeah, it's clipping a little there.
Okay.
Go ahead and talk again.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Check. Testing.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go there. I think YOLO, I go there.
Okay.
It's up to you. What do you want to
Let me do the intro in front of this, and then we'll walk that way and start talking to people. All right.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, there is no recording. Good. Okay.
Welcome to Coastal Conservative News. We are live in Fort Myers for the Congressional District 19 debate tonight. We're going to see an amazing lineup tonight. We wanted to bring you live coverage of this because in the Republican Party, we do love debates. And that's something that's been on the national headlines recently is who's going to debate, who's not. We are going to hear a debate tonight from Lee County. You're going to hear from Madison Cawthorne and multiple candidates. We're actually going to try to interview some of them before and after the debate tonight. But if you're just tuning in, welcome to CCM Florida's live coverage of the Congressional District 19 debate. So let's take a look around what's going on. We got a little less than an hour to go before the debate begins. So right now we are at the ranch in Fort Myers. We have some different campaigns. We're just going to show you around real quick. How's it going?
Hello.
What is this campaign?
This is the Oprah Weiss campaign.
Awesome. So is he here tonight?
He's not here yet, but he's going to be in touch with you.
And what is he running for?
He's running for a Congress for the 19th district here.
Awesome. We'll look forward to talking to him in a little bit. We're going to show you around. Thank you.
Of course.
Let's go this way. Excuse me. And you're going to see a huge lineup of different candidates that are going to take the stage in a little bit. And right here we actually have one of them, Catalina Lauf for Congress. This is another one of the U.S. Congressional District 19 candidates that will debate against Madison Cawthorne and against some of the other ones. I believe there's 4 or 5 or 6 of them tonight, so it's going to be a packed debate. Hopefully we get some questions from the audience, from the moderators, a mix of both, and we'll see what happens. But as we move continuing over here, we see the Madison Cawthorne for Congress. This is his station here. He's going to be up there, like I mentioned, and that's the one you know. You probably know his name maybe a little bit more than the other ones because he's served before, and he's running again. He's trying to get back in there, and we'll see what he has to say tonight, see if we can hear some of his policies and his vision for Congress, because we need a little bit of change right now in Congress and for America. You know, some of the things are not getting passed. Hopefully, in this primary debate tonight, we hear what they will do to change the ties for the Republican Party, because since this is a primary. We're going to walk around here. We'll see. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
We're here with Mike Pedersen. How are you doing?
Yeah,
Pedersen.
I'm doing all right.
So what are you here for tonight?
I think I got invited to this forum, so I'll be sitting up there later on.
Awesome.
One of the 6, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to
And you're a
interact.
candidate for District 19 for
Yes,
Congress.
I was the 3rd person in the race.
Awesome.
10 of us. So
Well, can I ask you a few questions about the race?
Yes, sir.
What originally got you inspired to get in there and make a difference in Congress?
I was thought I was retired 4 years ago. Worked very hard to get a good spot in life. I've always been following politics my entire life. My mantra's always been, if not me, then who? And when Byron Donalds announced 13 months ago that he was going to run for governor, I was like everybody else in Southwest Florida. Immediately I'm thinking, who's going to replace him? And I was kind of waiting for that inspiring candidate to jump in a race and I could get behind. I was still coaching high school wrestling at Mariner High School as a volunteer. I was working at a dog daycare place. We had a motorhome. We were traveling around the country chasing kids. Life was hunky-dory. I worked very hard to get that spot. And I didn't see any early entrants that made me enthusiastic. So I called a couple friends and I said, where's the person that we can get behind? And they were like, Mike, you're talking to yourself. So I had a lot of friends say, this is the time to jump in. I'm in a good spot in my life. I've got the time to dedicate. My wife, probably, I can't say 100% of the time in this race, but she's been very supportive. So that's kind of the way it started. And that was 13 months ago, and I've been having fun campaigning, but I had one of my wrestlers in February. The season was still going on. He ran up to me in the middle of practice. He said, Coach, no medals for second place in politics. So it's kind of like the roles were reversed, and all of a sudden I'm the competitor, and I've got all these supporters.
Yeah.
So I do intend to win this race. I'm a I say, I'm in a very good spot to do this, and if not me, then who?
Well, what are your thoughts about the debate going on tonight? Because the Republican Party, you've seen a lot about debates lately, people doing debates, not doing debates. But I think it's important for people of District 19 to hear from the candidates.
I haven't missed one.
Yeah, so what are you expecting to hear tonight and expecting to say to the crowd?
I think it's an opportunity for each candidate to distinguish themselves from the other. We got 10 in the race, but there's only 6 here tonight. So it's an opportunity to absolutely distinguish yourself and separate yourself and give the voters some more information to make an educated decision. I mean, it's going to be a very important decision. Who's going to replace Byron Donalds and be the representative for Southwest Florida? So this is a perfect opportunity. I wish we would have had all 10 of them here in the race. It's kind of disappointing that 4 of them didn't show up. But we'll go with the ones we have.
Yeah, and then so for the people that are going to be listening in tonight, trying to hear your vision, what distinguishes you from all the other candidates in this race?
Oh, a couple things. First of all, I'm the only veteran in the race, which kind of surprises me.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. 20 years, they put me on the bench after that, but you're welcome. It's kind of just what I do, and I was happy to do it, very honored to do it. But that's probably one thing that distinguishes me. There's 50,000 plus veterans in Lee County, over 20,000 in Collier County, so the district's got about 70,000 plus veterans in the area. I thought maybe there would have been another veteran entering this race, but there isn't, so I'm it. So that distinguishes me right off the bat. Plus, I'm a long-time Floridian since I was 10 years old. Deep roots, very deep roots. Florida's been my home of record longer than any candidate in this race, including the one that was born in Naples that lives in Fort Myers. So I have had Florida in my blood for 60 years and 27 years in Cape Coral. I've given back thousands and thousands and thousands of hours back to the community already. So bottom line is I've already been serving the constituents of Southwest Florida. And by that I mean I was a volunteer wrestling coach at Mariner High School for 23 years and counting. When I win this race, I probably won't be able to coach next year, and that'll be something that I won't be, feeling too good about, but it's what I'll have to do. Before that, I coached 3 years youth boxing with the Cape Coral Police Department. Wow. So as soon as I moved here, I jumped into volunteer coaching. And then I was also, for 20 years, I was a volunteer Naval Academy admissions liaison officer in the field. So I've been to every single high school in Collier County, Lee County, Charlotte County, Sarasota County, for that matter. So all I've done is give back to this community. So how continue doing that as a representative.
I want to ask you just one more question here. Sure. We see the different polling numbers of this race. How do you feel you're doing right now? We're about 6 weeks away from the primary election.
There's only really been one decent poll that came out about 2 weeks ago. I know the one you're talking about. It was like 300 people. I've never been polled in my entire life, so I take polls with a little bit of grain of salt. Yeah. But I think it was a pretty good poll. There's an indicator. It's kind of a name recognition thing. I am up against some heavy advertising. I am the absolute grassroots candidate. The voters in Southwest Florida, District 19, have an opportunity on August 18th and the week prior on early voting to make a statement to the rest of the nation that somebody like me, the grassroots candidate, that maybe doesn't have $1 million or $2 or $3 million of his own money in the race. Right. My money's been coming from absolute grassroots Americans in our area, and it kind of, for the first time in my life, I've got people donating me money. And it's a weird feeling for me to have. I wish I had more for radio ads, TV ads, but I'm outworking the other opponents. There's no doubt about that.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to hearing from you tonight.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah, we'll get into that debate a little bit here.
That was good. That helped me warm up a little bit.
Well, nice to meet you. We're excited to hear. And you guys, let us know what you are thinking in the chat right now, because we're live all night for this debate. And we're going to have different candidates. How are you doing? And something I want to mention, too, is that some of these candidates you may not know the names of, or you may have never heard of them before, but we want to make sure that we cover this so that you do get to know them before this race, because we are 6 weeks away. So get ready. Make sure you're informed. If you're in District 19, you're going to hear from some candidates tonight. So we're going to walk over here and see what else is going on. We got Mike Peterson's right there. We just talked to him. And then Olaf for Congress right here, OLA. Not sure much information about this one here, but all of them do have their own booths and everything, so it's going to be cool to hear from what's going on. So we'll toss it over back to the main screen, and we'll get back to you in just a few minutes. Awesome.
very nice.
Oh, thank you. You too. All right, Kevin. Whatever.
Sorry, give me your name.
Coastal Conservative. I'm Camden.
Camden.
Yes.
Camden.
All right, guys, we are back live from the Fort Myers, the ranch, here for the Congressional District 19 debate tonight. We're here with John Strand. How are you feeling tonight?
Amazing, Camden. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. We want to just ask you, for the people that don't know you yet, they're going to get a chance to hear from you tonight,
Yeah.
but what's important about this debate in general and what you're going to tell the voters tonight who may be undecided in this race?
The first thing that's important about it is that we're having it and that people are engaging in the primary election process.
Yes.
So our country is based on consent of the governed, people actually participating in the project. It doesn't work if people don't get involved. So we know how important voting is, but people forget about the primaries.
Yeah.
War for America is waged at the primary election level. So if voters only show up in November, they've already lost.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's really exciting about tonight, that people are actually participating in that process. And of course, I'm excited to let people get to know me and our story and our campaign, which I think is completely different from everyone else in the field, and really is quite different from most people running for public office. I'm not a politician, never want to be. I'm a patriot. Proved it in prison, standing up for the government and President Trump, vindicated at the Supreme Court, and really committed not just to all that stuff, which is important, but really the foundations of our country, what made it great in the first place, what makes it functional. And that is the Constitution and how to govern constitutionally, which I think we have lost. I don't think many people running for Congress are even thinking about that, much less having the courage and tenacity to fix things and get it back to where the founders intended it to be.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience that you were just mentioning? What does that mean, and for people that don't know the story?
Yeah, extraordinary experience. So I have a wide background. I was working as an actor and a writer when COVID happened. Then I got into the fight on the ground level, starting a freedom rally to push back against lockdowns.
Okay.
I became the creative director for a nonprofit called America's Frontline Doctors, which actually includes our current Surgeon General in Florida, Dr. Joseph Ladapo. But because of that work, I was traveling the country speaking. We got wrapped up in January 6th, the Fedsurrection entrapment event, otherwise known as the insurrection, according to the fake news. But I was actually charged with a 20-year felony, thrown in prison because I refused a false plea deal in principle, fought it all the way to the Supreme Court and won and got released. Wrote a book while I was in prison called Patriot Plea. And I urge you guys to read the book. It will blow your mind, and I think it could change the course of this country's history if enough people read the story, understand what's at stake, and get involved in the process like you guys are doing right now.
Thank you. I got to ask you, what was the biggest takeaway from that whole time that you were in prison for something that you probably didn't think that was, worth being in prison for? What's the takeaway from that whole thing?
The biggest takeaway is that we serve a mighty God. Our rights come from Him, not from government. And if we commit to that and remember that, God is faithful when you turn to Him. So when I was in isolation being badly abused, I had nowhere to go. I had nothing to, I could have died from despair or suicide. A lot of people did. So I think the fact that there is a God, He's good, and if we turn to Him, He's faithful, and He does redeem even our suffering. And I suffered a lot, but God used it for a purpose, and that promise applies to everybody.
Yeah, and if you look at the Bible, Paul wrote books of the Bible from prison. So it's really cool that you wrote a book during that. Another question for you. This debate tonight, what's your vision that you want people to take away? What are your main issues and things like that? But overall, what's the vision?
Security, affordability, accountability. So those are the pillars in terms of policy and what matters to actual people, and certainly in Southwest Florida. Security is a huge issue, the rule of law, but also our sovereignty and the exploitation of the middle class, particularly by mass migration abuse. So we need to protect our borders and our sovereignty. We need to protect American citizens. The country should be for them and not foreigners invading us in various ways. That also helps affordability. And we need accountability. I went to prison by a weaponized government, so we need bad guys to be in prison, not freedom fighters. And particularly criminals in the government, they need to have consequences. And most people in the government are insulated and protected, and I really want to see justice equal for all Americans, whether you're an elected official, no matter who you are. Because it's America, we're all supposed to be equal under God and equal under the law.
Yeah, something that people are concerned about right now is the SAVE Act and not getting passed in Congress.
There is nothing more important than the Save America Act. Literally nothing more important. Because if you don't have legitimate elections, you do not have government by we the people, by our consent.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing's a fraud. You lose trust in it, it's not functional, you have winners and losers. All the problems can be extended from an illegitimate system, particularly if people don't trust it. And then if you don't have a high trust society, if you do not have a high trust in self-governance, it'll break down and you'll get tyranny and anarchy, and mostly tyranny.
Yeah, and so we're looking forward to hearing from you on the debate stage tonight. What's your message to those voters? You mentioned primaries are really important.
Yeah.
What is your message to the voter who has never voted in a primary but needs to do it for the sake of this country?
Man, like I said, I went to prison because of a weaponized government, and that is a direct consequence of Americans over a long period of time disengaging from the civic process. So, yeah, there's lots of things that play into it, but at the end of the day, America's based on our rights come from God, not from government. We're all equal, and we are citizens that have a duty and an obligation to participate. So it really is your duty and obligation to participate in the process, which certainly includes primaries. That's the most important part of the process. But it's an amazing opportunity for you to get the government that you want and deserve by doing your part. And it's a lot of fun too. I mean, you know, when you do it right, you really build a culture of healthy debate, discussion, but we can actually get in front of each other and realize like we're friends and brothers, as opposed to being isolated on digital stuff where it's easy to hate people if you're not looking at them in the face.
Exactly. Yeah. So, thank you so much. We're looking forward to hearing from you tonight.
Thank you,
we'll be right back.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, let's get this in the background. Welcome back.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Welcome back to Coastal Conservative News. We're here with another candidate, Ola. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We got a debate tonight. How are you feeling going into it?
Well, I feel great. I mean, when you have a crowded race, but only one qualified candidate that has congressional senior policy experience and has a 90-day plan.
Can you explain that to us? Why do you think you are the only qualified?
Every candidate talks about problems, even the ones that were born and raised here. No one's heard of them until this race, which is a shame. I would rather be called a carpetbagger that's done work in the year that she's been in the district than someone that hasn't done anything. No one's heard of their name until they put their name in the race, yet they were born and raised here.
What are some of the experiences you've had in the district?
Well, bringing in a YMCA, working with executive directors, drafting amendments, creating grants from the Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, also working on securing federal grants for the Utility Extension Project, which is a huge project. I've been a water activist my entire adult life. Yes, and also working with the Everglades Restoration, working with the CEOs, making sure that $178 million that the federal government promised gets executed and allocated to the right sources.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big issue right now is the AI data centers and the water and all of that. What are your thoughts on those as someone who lives in this district, and what are your thoughts on the policies for or against it if you were to get elected?
Well, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan because it's not bringing us a return on our investment. If our utility bills are doubling and we're only providing 180 jobs, is that a return on your investment? I don't think so. It has to make sense for the district.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we saw a debate you were at the Republican Party of Florida. You were on stage, weren't you?
I was. Some of the candidates didn't want to show up. I mean, for
How do you
whatever
feel
reason.
that one went?
How do you think it went?
I'm asking you.
I think it went well. I answered, every question. It was, a little bit of tension. But, we're not here to fight. We're here to execute and create solutions to the issues and get elected. So,
Yeah, it's really important that the voters get a chance to actually hear from the candidates tonight. What's your vision that you want to spread to the voters that are going to be listening into the debate tonight?
well, do your research on every candidate. I've been a conservative my entire adult life, unlike some of the candidates who flip-flop. A freedom fighter, and as a first generation, I have that first generation grind that I will not give up on the greatest country and on Southwest Florida right now, at a time like now. We need change and we need help, and I hope to be that next congressperson to help them.
Yeah, and something I just asked someone else I want to ask you too. Why do voters need to vote in the primary this time? Because a lot of voters don't vote in the primaries.
It's so important to vote in the primary because if they don't, we may get stuck with a candidate that's not qualified and we're back to, square one. So it's really important to get out the vote and vote for the primary.
Ola, thank you so much. We're looking forward to hearing from you tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
what we can actually do to affect the lives of the people in this district, and that's what I'm excited to go on about.
What are the biggest issues that you're seeing that you want to hear? You want to answer the questions for tonight to speak to the voters that live here.
So one is going to be AI data centers. I think that's a big topic, but it rightly should be a big topic. These super scale data centers. There's no long-term health tests on these, and I'm really excited to dig into that. Also, how we're going to fix the water, and then the thing that I'm looking forward to, having served in Congress before, I'm looking forward to being able to differentiate myself on policy, the history, the original intent of our founders, but also how things get done inside of Washington, D.C., because I'll tell you, the establishment is not going to help you if you want to get patriotic ideals passed. You're going to have to figure out how to do it, but I already know how to do that. I'm looking forward to it.
So you've been in Congress before. What was that experience like with the establishment and working in Congress? What are those experiences, and how will it translate to going back again?
Right, so I got elected and I got sworn in 2021. Now I will tell you, the establishment, nobody aside from Susie Wiles and a couple other close confidants of the president, imagined that President Trump was going to have a political comeback. I literally heard the speaker say, or the leader say, that we are living in a post-Trump world. And so trying to push forward for MAGA principles during that time was very difficult because my own party was against me. But even during that, while being a firebrand and calling out Nancy Pelosi and her husband, who's always hammered and gets hit by hammers, all these crazy things, calling them out, I was still able to pass 2 pieces of legislation and multiple pieces inside of a spending package and still advocate for the principles that we believe in.
Awesome, thank you. And we're looking forward to hearing it from you tonight. One more question. Why do voters need to vote in the primary? I've been asking that tonight because a lot of voters do not vote in the primary, but it's when you really decide your candidate. So why do voters that are going to be watching, maybe they're undecided, but why should they vote in the primary this election?
Absolutely. So I think that for the most part, our generation is extraordinarily fed up with the Republican Party, rightly so, because for the last 6 decades, they have been doing nothing for us aside from taking a knee to the radical left. And really, I say they're basically the exact same as the left, just going the speed limit. And so when you get involved in primaries, you're trying to say, hey, I don't want to just have to choose the lesser of 2 evils. I want an actual champion who will fight for me. Yeah. I'm serious. Think about how special our country is. Every 2 years, we get to have the opportunity for a bloodless revolution. If all of our generation went out to vote in the primaries, we would change our country overnight, just in 2 years, because we would have super majorities in the House and Senate. It would be incredible.
I've been saying it over and over, young men built this country. Yes. It's time for young men to stand up for the future of it.
You're right. I mean, think about Lafayette. He was 18 years old.
Exactly.
Kicking ass in our name. There's some amazing people. Young people scaled the cliffs. We cracked the codes. We were the ones who, in the founding generation, that stood up. And you think about where was that movement started? It was started in bars and in churches by young men. Yeah. That's why they're trying to get rid of the testosterone in this country. So exactly. I love it, man. You're right on the number.
Thank you. We're looking forward to hearing from you tonight.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. You're just attending the debate, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
What's
should
your
I
name?
step over here?
Yeah, that's good. Actually, can we get the debate stage behind us? What's your name?
How are you?
Good. We want to ask you a few questions, but first, what are you expecting to hear tonight? Why are you here? And how are you feeling about this debate?
Well, I came here because I'm very interested in seeing who's going to replace Pryor that's going to keep pushing the envelope forward.
What's the biggest issue for you? What do you think the voters really care about, and what they need to do with the person they elect? Why should they elect them?
I think it's going to be affordability. With affordability frequently. I have to deal with gas prices. I have to deal with everything.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing for me. And I know a lot of young people that are their start. They're looking, how do I afford a house? How do I afford the food?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's really important that we have debates to hear from the candidates on their views and everything. Why do you think that debate stage before we go into the primary just 6 weeks away?
Well, I think that debates are essentially, they are a job interview. If you cannot expect to show up to even a McDonald's candidate, and the ones that have the strongest, not only just the strongest views, but also the best way to express them is going to win the day.
Yeah, exactly. One more question for you. I see you have a Make America Great Again hat on. How are you?
I am significantly peeved. There has been a lot of stuff that has really upset me. Stuff not being discussed. I'm more so, I wear the hat because I remember Trump in 2015, and that's something that really influenced how I grew up, what I saw. And a lot of the stuff that he said back then. Well, what he's doing now, I'm a little bit upset about. Within reason.
Yeah.
Within reason.
I'm hearing that from a lot of young people. Young people are saying they're upset with the Republican Party in general right now. A lot of things we don't like that are going on. But what is the message to young people on, why they need to be involved in these decisions and not wait till they're older to start speaking up and getting involved?
Well, elected officials serve their constituency. If your constituency is made up of old people, if your constituency is made up of mature, wonderful Americans, then it will affect how they govern. They will give more friendly breaks to them, whether it be tax breaks on ships or building private jets. Those things will affect them. They'll push for more Social Security. If you want to see change, you need young people to actually step in and demand it.
Yeah, and I think it's time for that. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the debate, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. Coastal Conservative News.
If you want to see live
Welcome back to Coastal Conservative News once again. We're here before the debate tonight. We're here with Catalina. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. What are you expecting to do tonight? States want to hear from the candidates on their views, but how do you win this, and how do you convince voters that you are the right candidate?
Yeah, I think, look, first and foremost, the voters of Southwest Florida are looking for servant leadership home, but also a lion in Congress that's supporting the Trump agenda, making sure that we're codifying a lot of the legislation that's coming out. Why can't we even get the Save America Act passed with a Republican majority?
minutes. What's the biggest issue right now with this district and as well as going up to Congress? What are the biggest issues that you see, but the things that the voters need to keep in mind when they're voting in this primary?
Yeah, well, number one, we got to focus on the future. Projects that we're focusing on out here, especially in the northern part of the district. We need to get those things through. We need to make sure that we're getting federal funding back to make sure these projects are getting funded, and to make sure that we're keeping up also with the pro-growth economic initiatives. We want people to cutting taxes and making sure we have a pro-growth economic environment. That's why I served under President Trump's administration, and so I'd be happy to do that and be a champion for that here in the district.
That's amazing. And a big issue with the growth is
out here as well. The biggest thing is, first of all should be so local. So it depends on what the community wants. If the community votes to have them here, I think, respect as much as possible the local community. But at the same time, we don't want to have China or Russia, our adversaries, having our data. Right. So how are we looking at this from an innovative technology perspective that's making sure the safety and security of Americans and our data is put first, and also from just, again, an innovation technology standpoint, but also respecting we the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. All right, welcome back to Coastal Conservative News. What's your name?
I am John Lucas Saraceno.
All right, we're here with John. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
So you were just known for a fishback event. You were at a fishback event, and a viral clip came out of it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's a good question. We were just there. All of us were registered Republicans, and we were there to be at the event. They claimed that it was a private event, and it wasn't. We had every right to be there being registered Republicans, and it took a turn for the worse when fishback wasn't let in, and there was a man there that was very aggressive to all of our supporters, especially to me and my father, and that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, and we're here at a debate tonight for a congressional District 19 debate. But even for the governor's debate, there's Byron Donalds is not participating in debates, and they're such an important part of this process. Why do you think they are so important?
Well, I think debates are important because it allows people to see who is what and what they support and what they believe. And I think when you dodge and duck debates like that, it shows, not to be ad hominem, but it shows cowardice and an inability to convince your points across the median.
And so we're at another debate. What are you expecting to hear tonight? Are you excited for this? And who are you expecting to hear from that's going to, try to get a path to victory through this debate?
I'm very excited for the debate. I'm not sure exactly what will entail, but I'm just excited to be here, and I'm rooting for Madison Cawthorne. I think he's a very, very genuine guy and wants what's best for Florida.
James Fishback was just a part of a debate recently. How did you feel that went? You were watching, I'm sure, right?
Yes, I was. I think that I think he did an excellent job. Very superb, and applying pressure when he needed to, pulling back off, and showing Florida what he's about. And this is exactly what we needed for a debate. And I think that's why Byron is scared to debate him, because we know what will happen.
Yeah. What's your message to people on why they need to vote in this primary? Because a lot of, you see the Republican establishment, especially the RPOF, acting like this race is already over, that the governor has already been decided. But why is it important that we do vote in this primary?
Well, I think it's a smokescreen. I think they want you to think that it's over so you don't go out and vote. But it's important to participate in your primaries because you live in Florida, it affects you, and you have a path to choose, whether it's Florida envisioned by Byron Donalds or Florida first, old Florida like James Fishback.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the interview. And we'll be right back with the debate coming up very shortly. All right. What's your name?
My name is Ron Sharino. You call me Ron.
Ron. All right, we're here again at this congressional debate tonight. We're here with Ron right now. Ron, you were just involved in an altercation at a Byron Donalds event. Fishback wasn't let in, but you were, supposedly harassed. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, well, I had no idea what was happening. If you notice, I was like in a corner up against the wall, so I couldn't see the front door for several minutes before that. They were grabbing me by the hands. They were try to move my chair to move me out. They literally said, I know two guys, that's part's in a video. Two big guys came and they were going to try to get me out. So I said, I'll fall on the ground and sue every one of you. Unfortunately, I said things that I shouldn't have said, and I'm sorry for that, and I feel horrible, but my emotions got the best of me. But it went on for several minutes before it got a lot worse. I didn't know until after I left and I saw the video. The police came, they surrounded me, and they asked me what happened, and when I told them, saying that I didn't belong there, but by law, I'm a registered Republican. I voted for Trump. I voted for Byron Donalds, which was a mistake, and they knew I had every right to be there.
So why did they do?
Like I said, I was in shock. I had no idea what was going on, but my assumption is once they found out that my son was involved because he wheeled me in, they decided to attack me. They were calling me a liar, and like I said, they were putting their hands on me, putting their hands on my face. The one guy hit me, then grabbed my shirt, spit on me, and I literally had no idea what was going on other than they assumed that I was there for Fishback and they wanted me out.
Yeah, and it all started because they weren't letting Fishback into this event.
But again, like I said, I had no idea that Fishback he would, and I was hoping he was going there and get his chance to speak. Yeah. It's his God-given right. We're Americans. Exactly. But I had no clue why they were surrounding me doing what they were doing.
Well, I got to ask you the same question I just asked your son.
He said AI-driven polls have Fishback at 43%, and that don't believe anything AI-driven. But AI data centers all over our state, which I'm totally against. I'm for wildlife. I'm for farmers. I'm for clean water. I don't want our electricity bills to go sky high. It's proven in Tennessee and other states that what happens. And that's why I'm here. That's why I care. I'm 57 years old. Anymore. Yeah. So I'm here for them. I'm here for the youth.
That's amazing. I think it's really important that you as a father are doing that. Last question for you. What are you excited about tonight? What are you expecting to hear at this?
Believe in and what they say they're going to do moving forward if they actually win.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ron. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll be right back. All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, we just want to let you know before this starts, do make sure to watch because the debate is definitely going to cover the entire thing. We'll give you the coverage that you need as a Floridian, especially if you're in District 19. But if you want to hear from the candidates, share this stream. Feel free to talk in the chat and get ready to hear from the District 19 congressional candidates. Who is going to replace Byron Donalds' seat in Congress? Get ready. We'll keep that full coverage of you. We'll be back with post-debate interviews as well. So get ready for the next time. See you soon.
So the audio sounded like shit, like when they're on the mic.
Oh.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
But we can hear it, right?
It's very distorted,
Like how?
like super distorted. Remember when you first heard it?
Like chuck, chuck, chuck.
Yeah, like I don't know if he must have boosted the gain or something.
Oh, can we do something with the decibel?
The only thing we can do is to get the audio.
Can I hear?
Oh, okay.
How's Alicia?
She's on operation in DC.
Oh, okay. So busy.
Yeah, yeah, she's good. Being sued and stuff.
Tonight, and it's his wife's birthday. So I told him we would take her out to dinner and make up for this, but that's okay. We're going to start with prayer. How many can say amen for that? This is, we're coming in from Alva. Most of who's on the stage tonight is pioneer families from Alva. This is my son, Dylan, who's going to open with a word of prayer.
If you guys wouldn't mind taking your hats off, please, and join me in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this time that we get to spend together. Thank you for keeping us here safely, getting us here safely. Lord, I ask that we all treat each other with respect. Though we may have different opinions, different thoughts, we're all undivided as a country at the end of the day. So, I also ask that these candidates, pray that these candidates get their message across as best they can, so that people can make their decision the best they can. In your heavenly name I pray, and the church said, amen.
I'm going to invite Dr. Alan White, if you would remain standing, a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to America, for which it stands,
Again, thank you guys for coming tonight. A special thanks to the East Lee County Republican Club for helping organize and host this. Of course, to the ranch for such an incredible location. To the Lee GOP and all the staff and board and management for helping all you did to arrange this. Southwest Florida Business Alliance. Evan Dowling for that amazing performance on the saxophone. Dr. White. To Mugs and Jugs for providing a great dinner options this evening. And to my partner and fellow Albanian, Grant Victor, for helping me moderate this evening. Thank you, sir. Thank you. This takes a lot, you guys.
From each candidate in a fair, respectful, and informative setting. We ask that everyone, candidates and audience alike, to help us maintain a spirit of civility throughout the evening. The debate format will be each candidate will begin with a 3-minute opening statement to introduce themselves and share their vision for Florida's 19th Congressional District. Following the opening statements, candidates will answer a series of questions covering issues of importance to our community and our nation. Candidates will have 1 minute to respond to each standard question, a series of one-on-one questions during which 2 candidates will respond to the same question and have an equal opportunity to present. And then a series of yes or no panel questions designed to provide voters with each candidate's position on specific issues. Unless otherwise requested by the moderators, these questions will require only a yes or no response. At the conclusion of the forum, we'll have 1 minute for a closing statement for each candidate. The forum is intended to foster a meaningful discussion of ideas and issues. We would like to respectfully ask each candidate to address the question that has been asked, keep responses within the allotted time, allow fellow candidates to speak without interruption, speak respectfully towards one another, even when disagreements arise, refrain from personal attacks or questioning another's campaign motives or character. Differences in policies, priorities, and qualifications are welcome. Personal attacks are not. Time limits will be strictly enforced in the interest of fairness. Candidates will receive a visual warning when their time is nearly expired. Audience expectations. Obviously, we appreciate your enthusiasm and your participation. But to ensure that each candidate is heard equally, we respectfully ask the audience to silence all cell phones, electronic devices, treat each candidate and every attendee with courtesy and respect. At the end, we're going to do an audience straw poll. So before we conclude, you'll be invited to participate in that process. At the conclusion of the program, volunteers will distribute index cards to the attendees. If you wish to participate, write your candidate of choice on the card. Volunteers will collect the completed cards, and then we will tabulate the results. Once the votes have been counted, we will announce the top 2 finishers in the audience straw poll. Please note that this is an informal, non-binding poll of those in attendance. It's intended solely as a way to engage audience impressions following the debate. It is not an official election. It does not represent the views of the East Lee County Republican Club or for the GOP. After the results are announced, that will conclude this evening's program.
This evening is about informing voters, not declaring winners. Our hope is tonight's discussion allows each candidate the opportunity to present their ideas while giving voters information they need to make informed decisions. On behalf of the East Lee County Republican Club, thank you to our candidates, our volunteers, our media partners, and everyone in attendance. Let's begin. I'm going to turn your attention to those screens either one of you can see.
I was
is your thinking for 2022 emergency destroyed our community? These bureaucrats will tell you they sit in their offices. We did the work. Females nowhere to be found. Now, if they just try and get ambushed with new flood maps that say if your home repairs cost too much, you gotta destroy your entire house. Let's get one thing straight. You do not have to ask the government permission to rebuild your own home. It's your land and it's none of their business. FEMA will never fight for you. I will.
They said he was done. They said the movement was over. They don't know a fighter when they see him. He didn't go to Washington to make friends. He went to flip the tables. Now the battle has shifted to the shores of Southwest Florida. A new magician, but the same mind willed to dismantle the deep state. He is the radical left's worst nightmare and the Patriots' greatest ally. He is a survivor. He is a fighter. Please welcome Madison Cawthorne. She's the only self-made entrepreneur in this race.
Philanthropic fashion, he's done so many things, particularly for the crew.
With Congress would be an awesome addition to Congress.
The night of the vote on the big deal.
The Supreme Court vindicated both of us, and now I'm running for Congress as president to finish the job. Pass the Safe America Act, secure elections, support ICE, and accelerate deportations. Cut the waste, fraud, and corruption. If you're tired of being politicians, I'm your fighter. Keep Southwest Florida led, vote John Strand, Patriot for Congress.
Congressional district. We're going to get started at this end, John Street.
Check 1, 2. Hello, I am John Strand, Patriot for Congress, and the only candidate qualified for the ballot with voter petition support to enjoy special resources 3 point, which is super exciting. And many of you don't know me as a J6 hostage guy that went to prison. On principles, essentially, and I want to be clear about what protection means. I was assaulted by an FBI SWAT team. They shot at my front door with a batarang. Disappeared in jail for 4 days without a phone call, and then charged with a 20-year felony. And then I was offered the equivalent of a get out of jail nearly free card. I say, don't listen to me repeating. I just signed a false confession, played along with the Washington D.C. program. I'd go home with my life wiped away. But I refused. Because there is never a right time to do the wrong thing. I truly listen to the lie because you guys, somebody has got to start standing up against the failure to corrupt government. So our campaign mission for 2019 is simple and uncompromising. We are going to reclaim the Republic. The American constitutional republic belongs to us, but it is being hijacked by Washington, D.C. And we are going to have to fight like warriors, all of us, to get it back. So I am running to restore courage, common sense, and Judeo-Christian values back into government so we can finally end the fraud, waste, and abuse that is bankrupting this nation morally and financially, and deliver what Americans and what Southwest Florida actually needs: security, affordability, and accountability. So if you believe that the status quo in America, and even here in Southwest Florida, is good enough, you have all kinds of options in this race, that's for sure. But if you want real change in Washington, the kind that they will resist, as they always do, I know. And if you want leaders who've proven they will fold under pressure, then join the fight with us today at johnstrand.com. Because I will fight to pass the Save America Act and secure elections. I don't care what it takes. I will fight to secure our borders and accelerate deportations so that you and your family can actually afford to live in your own country. I will fight to stop the sexual grooming of the pride trans cult, because God's children are not for sale. If you're tired of weak politicians, I am your fighter. I will never stand down and never sell out in the fight to defend your faith, your family, your freedom, and your culture. Because this republic belongs to you. And together, we're going to keep it. On August 18, vote for change. Vote for courage. Vote John Strand, Patriot for Congress. Thank you, and God bless you.
I felt like I was still back at wrestling practice somewhere in high school. Good evening. Thank you to the League GOP. Also, thank you to the East League Club. I've been attending many of their meetings over the years. Thank you to this great establishment, the ranch. 12 years ago, I was sitting right back there at the grand opening. So if you've actually lived in Florida for a long time, you know this place when it opened. Jen was the bartender back there 12 years ago, and I did not do the two-step in here, but I was doing a slide to the right, I think, that night, right in here. So I'm a true Floridian, 60 years plus as home state of record for Florida, 26 years now, I'm going to do a man in public as a Cape Coral resident. I bleed Florida. This is my home state. This is my home area, Southwest Florida. I raised my family here. I am the only veteran in this race. I raised my voice on that because I thought maybe when I entered this race as the third person 13 months ago, that there would have been another veteran in this race. There has not been. We've got nearly 70,000 veterans in Collier County and Lee County combined. I hear the word fight a lot from candidates, current politicians. I know how to fight. You guys know that. Once it's inside us and know me, they know I know how to fight. I've been practicing and training for this role to be your representative. And I stress that word representative over congressman. I've been training for this my entire life. I am in a perfect spot in my life to do this. I want to be your representative. I'm asking for your vote on August 18th. Mike Pedersen from Congress.com. Take a look at my website and look at the endorsements. Those are red-blooded Americans that have endorsed Mike Pedersen. They know me. Click on their faces and you'll read what they have to say about me. I'm asking for your vote. I want to be your representative on August 18th. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you for being interested, taking the time to come out and listen to us. My background, if you don't know, I have done so many things in my life that people have told me, you can't do that. Starting a stock brokerage firm in Aurora, Illinois, and a family of mutual funds, which we built into nationally recognized brands. They said it can't be done without Merrill Lynch or Chase Manhattan or whatever, but we have. I also was elected twice to the state senate in Illinois as a conservative Republican. They said you can't do that either. And in 2020, they asked me to run for U.S. Congress against the incumbent Democrat. And they said you can't do that either, but I did. And as of election night, we had won by 1,500 votes. However, this was Illinois. 2 days later, they decided to count a bunch of mail-in ballots that were never initialed by an election judge, as required under Illinois law. After that, I said, okay, that's it. I'm absolutely done with Illinois. I'm absolutely done with politics and going to Florida to play pickleball and golf. And that's what I did for about 5 years. But when Byron announced that he was going to run for governor, I had 8 or 9 friends in the first week say, Jim, please, we need your economic experience, financial experience in Washington. We have a huge problem with last year, $36 trillion national debt, and it's now $39 trillion. In addition to that, let me just mention, I've had a home in Florida for 46 years, longer than the other Jim, who likes to claim this long residence. I've been investing in Lee County longer than the other Jim. At Overwise Securities, we put together investment partnerships. We bought what is now Matanzas Inn, and we bought Windward Passage, put them together as investment partnerships for our clients. I also started the Overwise Foundation, which supports veterans causes and organizations that help people in need, such as Harry Chapin Food Bank, St. Matthew's House, Habitat for Humanity, and many more. In fact, we have on our table back there a list of the grants that we made in the last year. Please feel free to take a look at it. In any event, I'm here today asking for your vote because you want somebody who doesn't just talk about things. We all support President Trump. We're all saying we're going to Washington to support the president. We're all opposed to waste, fraud, and abuse. The question is, who has the background and the experience to be able to get it done? I propose, by the way, no budget, no pay. Congress doesn't pass a budget. They shouldn't get paid. If we get that passed, and President Rick Scott is proposing that in the Senate, I'll fight for it in the House. That will make a lot of things work the right way. Republicans and Democrats will have to work together to solve things. Thank you again for coming tonight.
Hello, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight, especially fresh off of a 4th of July weekend. I'm sure this was, it's great to have everybody here after a long weekend like that. But I'm Catalina Lauf, really proud to be here. I'm a former Trump administration appointee. I was honored to be appointed to the President's administration at the U.S. Department of Commerce as a special advisor. I spent time in the private sector. Ultimately, my sister and I started a company, and we are now the 190th fastest growing U.S. company in the country today. And that's really because of the American dream. You know, what our founders fought for 250 years ago, those values still matter. But who do we have on our side other than a select few fighting for those values? Can anybody answer that? How many in Congress do you see that are up there actually fighting for what we care about? We, the people, have had enough with what's going on in Washington. You can't even get the Save America Act passed with a Republican majority. That's disgraceful. It's an issue that 90% of Americans care about, but it's because you have the wrong Republicans up there, and that all starts in primaries. We need to ensure that Southwest Florida remains the most conservative and patriotic in the country, and that starts with not only servant leadership back home in the district, but aligning in Congress on the issues. I'd be honored to earn your support. If you do support me, I'd be honored to join the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee once I get to Congress. We have a lot of issues down here that need to be solved, and we need a fighter like Byron Donalds to ensure that we are maintaining a competitive environment here, especially economically. You need a pro-growth fighter. As a business owner, I'm proud to be somebody that understands what it takes to run a business, how to make payroll, everyday common sense things that you business owners here in this audience understand that most in Washington don't. They're passing laws dictating our lives with absolutely no repercussion or no accountability. We need common sense people up there fighting in Washington. I'm a proud MAHA supporter. My family and I started a business that's catered to children's health care. We need to ensure that we are looking for the next generation of health care. We're not just putting a Band-Aid on health. We're the root cause and getting big pharma out of our healthcare system. And most of all, we need fighters up there to combat the Marxist communist movement. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you've got seats all across the country right now recruiting and electing Democrat communists. This is not the party of JFK anymore. These are radical communists on the left, and they are recruiting the young next generation. Who do we have on our side again fighting for our values? That's what matters. Your children and your grandchildren's future matters. I'd be honored to earn your support. Please think about the future at the ballot box. Head to CatalinaForCongress.com to join our campaign. Thank you.
My name is Ola Huapa. I am a first-generation daughter of Christian immigrants, proud freedom fighter. I've been a freedom fighter my entire adult life. I'm a proud mom. My boys went to Tampa Bay Christian Academy when they were younger.
Started 2 businesses from the ground up. Became top businesswoman 3 years in a row. Started my own nonprofit, helping thousands of veterans throughout the country because I owe my freedom to them. My family story is the true America story. My dad came here at 21 years old, gave up power, gave up money for freedom. Started working at Stewart's factory and a bus driver to raise 7 of us. Now our name is on the Civic Center, donate $1 million towards 4th of July, and that is what my dad taught me. Integrity, honesty, and work ethic. I currently am employed by the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm a senior policy advisor. So I know how Washington, D.C. operates. And I know how to utilize the resources in Washington, D.C. to benefit our district. And that's what we need. Since last year, I've been working on securing federal grants for the Utility Extension Project and also helping bring in a YMCA, talking to the executive directors of the YMCA because we don't have a public pool. I started the Moms for America chapter in Lee County, the first ever, because our children are the future of America. And as a mom, no one knows it better than I do. I love how people are born and raised here, but they have nothing to show. Like, no one's known their name until this race. I would rather be called a carpetbagger that's been here for a year and done more in the 1 year that I've been here than those who are born and raised and have nothing to show until this election. I'm not an opportunist. I don't like freeloaders. We need change, water infrastructure, 75, bring in federal grants. These are things that I'm working on already. I already know how Washington, D.C. operates, and this is a promise that I'm making to you. This is a campaign not about fake promises, but it's who is the candidate that's going to do the best job. And I hope to win your support. OlaForCongress.com.
Hello, everybody. I would like to address some attacks I've had on me head on. Some people have said that oftentimes I do not stand during the national anthem. And I have to say it's true, and you'll have to forgive me for not standing up right now. When I was on spring break in Florida during my senior year of high school, I was in a horrific car accident. And it happened in the best place it could have happened, outside of Daytona. You know, the doctors there have fixed many car accidents in the area. But I will tell you, when I was on that drive going back home from spring break, I was taking a nap in the passenger seat. My friend was driving. And for whatever reason, he thought it'd be better as a group activity. And he fell asleep. Our car collided into a concrete barricade. It caught flames. I was terribly wounded. He was able to get out of the car and later save my life, pulling me out of that burning vehicle. I was then in a hospital for about a year and a half, and it was a very difficult recovery. And oftentimes, I ask God, why did you make me have to go through such a difficult time? I wanted to serve you, and you took my legs from me. And I will tell you, I have realized the reason that he did this. After I got out of the hospital, I started a real estate business doing commercial real estate. And my congressman left to be the chief of staff to Donald Trump, which left an open seat. I had several people come to me asking for my support, which really means they're asking for a donation. I'm sure many business owners in the room can understand that. And I was starting to talk to these people who were running to run for office for where I grew up. And I realized that they did not realize what was at stake inside of our nation. My generation represents the generation that is the most anxious, depressed, pill-addicted, and financially not well-off generation this country has ever had. And I realized that these people just thought they wanted to go to Washington, D.C. and practice genteel politics and think that everything's going to be okay. It is not. When I asked God why you made me go through that horrific car accident and be on fire inside of that vehicle, I realized it's because our entire nation is on fire. The establishment will tell you that not to rock the boat. Don't be too loud. Don't try and fight so hard. My friends, the boat is sinking. We have to do something different. And that is why I'm running for Congress here in Southwest Florida. I thank all of my opponents for being on stage. I think they all love God. I believe they all love our president, and they will support the America First movement. But I have to tell you, so many people have hijacked the America First movement that many of them don't understand what it is for anymore. As your congressman, I will attack local issues. We will go after our water quality by making sure that we have regenerative farms and more nutritious food coming into our stomachs. And on a national level, we have got to do more to harden our entire state against hurricanes. But aside from that, we have got to go after these people who do not face any form of accountability. I want to deport Ilhan Omar. I want to revoke this terrible doctor who was trying, Anthony Fauci, who committed a genocide inside of this country, and he should be arrested for crimes against humanity. My name is Madison Cawthorne. I will fight for you and for the America First agenda. We must send warriors to Congress. Thank you.
All right, great intro, everybody. Seems like we have a real dynamic race here, a lot of great candidates. Appreciate the introductions. We're going to start now with our first question. We'll call this round one. The responses on these questions are 1 minute each. We're going to start, since we started with John here, we're going to start with you, Mr. Pedersen. Your first priority. If elected, what would be your single highest legislative priority during your first term, and why is it the most important issue facing Florida's 19th congressional district?
As was mentioned a little while ago, we're $39 trillion in debt. When I graduated the U.S. Naval Academy in 1979, we were less than $1 trillion in debt. How the heck did we get to $39 trillion in debt? I got 9 grandkids right now. I fear for them. I really do. Congress has a hard time saying no to spending. I've heard people with financial background. I raised a family of 3. I know how to say no to spending. We have to start doing that. How do we get here? We got these bills that Congress keeps passing. We need a single issue bill. Like 47 pages. Let's pick a number, 47 pages or less. Something that we have 7 days to read and absorb and then pass it. Single issue. Quit adding the pork in there. We've got to stop that. So if I have my choice, I would love to get a bill across that says the bill will be a single issue bill. I hope that can happen. I am a fighter. I will fight for that, and we got to talk about it. We got to push that. It's ridiculous to add the pork on once it tries to get through.
Thank you, Mr. Pedersen.
Same question? Yes, sir. Same question, Mr. Oberweis. If you need it repeated, you guys just let me know.
I had no intention of ever running for political office again. When Byron announced that he was running for governor, leaving an open seat, as I mentioned, I had 8 or 9 people who knew my financial background, who were concerned about last year a $36 trillion national debt, now $39 trillion, and they believed that my financial background would be important to try to help solve some of the Washington problems. And I'm not going there with general ideas. I'm going there with some specific ideas, including Rick Scott working on the no budget, no pay in the Senate, me working on no budget, no pay in the House. I will also work very hard to end all government subsidies, all taxpayer benefits for illegal aliens, from unemployment compensation to everything else, SNAP benefits, Social Security, and the works. That's what we need to start cutting the expenditures. I have 26 grandkids. I'm worried about their financial future if we don't deal with this quickly.
All right, the most important issue here that we want to... Highest priority. Well, number one, in order for Southwest Florida to remain competitive from an economic perspective and a place where people want to live and become tourists here, we've got to get our infrastructure down. You know, I'd be honored to join the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, specifically FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers. That's under the jurisdiction of that committee. And it's come to my attention that we have a lot of projects out here that unless they have a fighter like we had in Byron Donalds the next time around, we will lose funding. We got to ensure that we have better water quality out here, that we're focusing on the roads, we're focusing on the growth, and making sure that we're remaining competitive. So I'd be honored to be a champion for those issues and ensure that Southwest Florida has those things down, is getting the funding back. You know, I just talked to a fisherman. His entire fleet was destroyed under Hurricane Ian. His P&L he's losing money because of it. We need to bring back our growth here, and it starts with the infrastructure.
As a senior policy advisor for the House of Representatives and someone that understands legislature very well, first thing that I'll do is what I've been working on since last August, securing federal grants for the utility extension project. So many homes are affected by this. They're taking out loans, $35,000 plus, when we have conversion grants, low-income housing grants. These are grants that I've already tapped into and working with grant underwriters. The fraud and the abuse that I've seen in our district is disgusting. With all due respect, but our mayor sucks. To say it politely, it's true. I mean, we're not getting, I talk about return on our investment, we aren't. We're not utilizing the resources in Washington, D.C. That's what I plan on doing from day one.
Inside of Congress, I think the number one reform that needs to happen, and I agree with Mr. Pedersen, is that we need to have single subject spending bills. On a national level, the number one priority is to deport every single illegal alien that is inside of our nation. I believe we must amend the 14th Amendment because this Supreme Court ruling that just came out that upholds birthright citizenship is an affront to our everyday way of life. America is for Americans. For too long, we have taken care of the rest of the world. We must stop doing this. I am willing to do anything to bring our infrastructure, our industry back to our country. We have sent all of our jobs overseas because we can make it cheaper and it can be better for corporations. I'm sorry, America first means that we support American patriots, American families, the American way of life. We must bring our businesses back and stop allowing people who hate our country into our borders. Stop it, it's an invasion. Deport them all.
So I told you at the top that our campaign mission is to reclaim the republic. You do not have a constitutional republic without consent of the governed. There is nothing more important in this nation than reclaiming the integrity of your vote. Passing the Save America Act, I can't believe I can still talk about it because we have an inept Congress and a corrupted Senate. But we must reclaim the legitimacy of the vote in this country, otherwise all of this is a waste of time. The second most important thing is deporting every illegal alien, as Madison correctly said. However, I'm going to challenge him a bit on the 14th Amendment, which does not need to be amended. It's also nearly impossible to get a constitutional amendment. We need the Birthright Citizenship Reform Act, which is a simple correction to the existing U.S. Code, 1401. We can easily correct that and close that loophole, and I will work on that just as soon as we get the Save America Act passed. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to get a little audience participation before we ask the next question. Raise your hand if you're hearing from at least one of these candidates for the first time this evening. That's great. Very good. All righty. Good poll. This is a 1-minute question for everyone. We're going to start with Mr. Oberweis. Southwest Florida's future. Southwest Florida continues to experience rapid population growth while struggling with traffic congestion, infrastructure demands, water quality concerns, and affordability. What role should the federal government play in helping communities like ours meet these challenges?
Amanda, that's a great question. Thank you very much. Look, I've been on the Everglades Trust for many years, supported them financially and personally. I went to Washington, D.C. for their seminar to understand what's going on and what's necessary to keep improving our water quality here in Southwest Florida. In the big beautiful bill, there was $440 million, which was a nice number to help build reservoirs south of Lake Okeechobee to catch the water during rainy season and make it available to be released during the dry season. Those are steps in the right direction. We also need to plan ahead for our infrastructure, our roads, and so on. Instead of reacting to this growth that's coming here, we need to anticipate. We know that this is paradise. We know that people are going to keep coming here. So we need to be planning for what the population is going to be 2, 3, and 4 years from now. We also need to find ways to make housing affordable for those people who are working, let's say, in Naples, instead of having them to drive for an hour to get there. One of the ways that we've talked about is using shopping centers and allowing people to build residences above those retail stores. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Southwest Florida continues to experience rapid population growth while struggling with traffic, infrastructure demands, water quality, and affordability. What role should the federal government play in helping communities like ours face those challenges?
Well, the biggest issue that we have with the federal government in general is that we have so much bureaucracy and red tape that's keeping a lot of our projects basically hostage. And again, I mentioned before, I'd be honored to serve in the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, where the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA are under that jurisdiction. Why is it taking 4 years for the Army Corps of Engineers to approve projects? This is ridiculous. It's stifling our economic growth here, and it's actually making people want to move and leave because it's becoming incredibly unsustainable to live here. So that's the one thing to address the transportation infrastructure. But when it comes to affordability, and also FEMA, for example, I find it very offensive that illegal aliens have more federal funding than we do here back home. This is ridiculous. It's our taxpayer money. And when it comes to affordability, we need to cut down inflation. People can't afford homes because things are too expensive because government is spending too much of our hard-earned taxpayer money. Be proud to champion both those issues in Washington for you all.
I know that Lee County has applied for a grant for the PD&E study in order for us to get funding to work with Florida Department of Transportation. Some candidates, they feel that we don't need the money or the grants, but we need them obviously to help. And I know I want to be a part of that grant process because I know the correct words to actually get those grants, like hurricane evacuation, that make it a priority because we need expansion on 75. And the cost of housing, it's crazy, but we need to decrease regulation so that we can increase housing and cut the red tape so that it can help bring down the cost of construction. So I hope to work in that process. But yeah, thank you.
I want to preface my answer by not coming across as a green hippie, but I believe in Genesis, we are all called to be stewards of this earth. And I will tell you, we have got to stop overdevelopment from attacking our area. But the reason that this is so difficult to do is because obviously people in Washington, D.C. have allowed multinational conglomerates like Blackstone and BlackRock to buy up so many single-family homes. Inside of the state of Florida, over 100,000 single-family homes are now off the market because they want to turn our generation into a permanent renter generation, which is equivalent to serfs or slavery. They do not want you to be able to own anything. They want you to own nothing and be happy. And so if we remove them from being able to do that, there will be less overdevelopment, less incentive for that. But also, I do not want Washington, D.C. involved in local affairs. I believe that we must send local control for water issues back down to local governments instead of having the Army Corps of Engineers. Because right now we have someone in Arizona and Alaska deciding what we do with our water.
Thank you.
That was a good answer. I really appreciate how you asked the question, Amanda. She asked, what's the role of the federal government? And I am not running to be a county commissioner, I'm running to be your congressional representative. I was actually with my friend Chris Hall and Byron Donalds last night, as was Madison. And I asked Chris, as a commissioner, what is important to address these local issues with infrastructure and growth. And he said, honestly, the main thing is I need to get the federal government out of our way, right? I told you that we're going to reclaim the republic and reclaim constitutional governance. So my commitment to you, my passion, is to restrain the overwhelming beast of the federal government back into its proper role. And one of the ways we're going to do that is abolish the federal income tax so we grow GDP in the economy so that you all have a lot more of your own money, and reduce regulations so that local governments actually have the power they need and the permits they need to make good decisions about managing growth at the local level. Thank you.
Look, when I grew up here, I-75 didn't even exist. I've seen the changes in South Florida, Southwest Florida. I've seen it. The question is my role as your representative, as your elected official. I know insurance, infrastructure, and the environment are the three biggest issues locally. I understand that. But the question is my role as your elected representative, and I'm very good at representing you. Believe me, I've already been doing it. I've already been serving the constituents of Southwest Florida for 27 years. I've already been doing it. We have county commissioners here in the audience. We have city council members. My role is to support them. What's another name for tax money? Your money. My money. All right? My role will be to get that tax money back, and that way we could support the county commissioners with their plans and support the city councils. That will be my role. I understand the issues, and I will fight for those. Thank you.
Are we on to the next? Wow, this is going fast, guys. You're doing great. We're going to take pictures in a minute. It's fine. Okay, this is a really good one. This is going to get a lot of fun. This one is called Campaign Mischaracterizations. Listen carefully. Campaigns can often lead to misunderstandings, misinformation, and inaccurate characterizations. We also know that modern campaigns frequently involve significant spending on negative campaign ads by political action committees and social media campaigns that shape public perception. Please identify one issue or aspect of your candidacy that you believe you have been misrepresented, and use this opportunity to set the record straight for voters. Catalina.
I love that question. Thanks for asking it. Do we get 5 minutes? Because it's a lot.
No, ma'am, it's one.
Okay. Well, I'm really proud to be the only candidate up here that hundreds of thousands of dollars have actually been spent negative against me with all lies. Number one being, I am the anti-AOC. I'm not pro-AOC, but an opponent took a small clip of what I said and completely spun it and spent hundreds of thousands against me. I did not erase any of my conservative things. I'm a proud AR-15 owner and love it. I did not erase that. One of my opponents spent thousands against me for that. I don't have an OnlyFans account, which another one of my opponents on the stage claimed I did, and put money behind that too. So I am a blue state refugee. I'm not a carpetbagger. I came here. I didn't have a choice to be born and raised in Illinois, but I have a choice to live here. So I'm also proud that all the money is being spent against us, considering I don't have any sort of baggage or criminal records, but I'm the one that they're attacking, so you're the front runner.
I promise you we didn't start with you on that one on purpose, I promise.
Well, it's crazy because I see a lot of attacks on everyone. They kind of forgot about me because I don't have much baggage. I'm focusing on making a difference. Everyone talks about problems and ripping everyone else, but it's carpetbagger is the first thing that comes to mind. I moved to Apollo Beach. In fact, I started my companies when I was in Apollo Beach. My boys went to Tampa Bay Christian Academy. My dad has had a house in Tampa for 20 years. We're real estate investors. I have homes throughout the country. It would be one thing to be a freeloader, carpetbagger, but someone that's been here. I've moved from Venice, Florida. That's the only thing. But I carry no baggage. The only thing I have is I'm here to make a difference, and I hope to win your vote.
One thing I would like to note, and this is specifically from previous elections, but I think that a thing that to keep in mind is I was the first member of Congress ever elected who grew up with a cell phone. And I think it's worth noting that if any members of Congress, when it grew up with cell phones like I had, I think about 80% of them would be nowhere near a microphone ever. And so I think that's something to keep in mind. Any mistake I've ever made in my life was because I was in a hurry. I got in trouble with a speeding ticket one time. I've taken a firearm through a TSA checkpoint because I was just a little too quick in packing, and I carry guns very often. And, you know, I will tell you, another thing that I've been attacked on is that I am extraordinarily militantly against the Islamification of our country, and that I am I have been attacked on the fact that I am a Christian nationalist and I care only about this country. I am here to tell you that is absolutely correct. I will fight and die for this nation, and I will never back down.
Well, my friend John Rich told me that his grandma once said, if everyone likes what you say, you're saying it wrong. So, you know, if you got enemies saying bad things about you, probably means you took a stand for something. I'm proud to take a stand for something. Yeah, people will say I was an insurrectionist or whatever else they'll say. They'll say that I was an actor from Hollywood, show pictures from being a fashion model. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm fighting against the left to save this country. And I'm actually more interested and grateful for the incredible support and positive message behind this campaign, the only campaign to get on the ballot with voters' petition support, endorsed by not only Charlie Kirk's Turning Point, but Data Republican, Congressman Bob McEwen, Congressman Lauren Boebert from the Freedom Caucus, Dr. Robert Malone, Dr. Simone Gold of America's Frontline Doctors, incredible people from all over this country. The Honorable Jerry Rutherford, who's on the school board in Collier County where I live and work. So from Florida to everywhere in the USA, the people standing behind this campaign are extraordinary. They've seen me go through the fire, they've seen the attacks, and they know the character behind it. And I'm just honored by that. Thank you.
I like this question. Mike's a nice guy, and he doesn't have any legislative experience. He's never been in politics before. I kind of like the first one. I think that's okay. And the second one, actually, I think that's a plus, not having legislative experience. I can hit the ground running. 20 years in the Marine Corps as an officer, no better friend, no worse enemy is what they say about Marines. I can hit the ground running. So yeah, I'll take the title of being a nice guy and no legislative experience, not being in politics. I think that's actually a plus and a plus right there. I promise you, accountability is at the top of my list. I will go to represent you. You will be proud of what I can do. I can build relationships. I've been blessed by God, I think, or my parents, with a ton of common sense. I have a ton of common sense. I can represent you. I can get things done. Sometimes I'm up at some of these forums, and I look, and I think I'm the DMZ sometimes between a lot of folks. We need to have party unity. I can do that. I can deliver that.
In general, I kind of like the Trey Radel show that's on the radio in the drive times. But I will tell you, at the Business United PAC, where they interviewed candidates for this seat one at a time, my opponent, the other Jim, said that Trey Radel is on his campaign team. And you know, if you listen to the show, it's pretty clear that that's the case. He tends to be a shill, complaining about all the rest of us who don't know anything about this area. We have no experience, except maybe Mike a little bit. But in general, there is no candidate that could serve this district except for the other Jim. And by the way, they kind of control the airwaves in Fort Myers. It's very difficult for the rest of us to have a fair opportunity. And I think if you talk to employees of the radio and TV stations in that media empire, they're afraid to say anything. They're sometimes afraid to have interviews with the rest of us. So that would be my concern. I think it's unfair that they control that market and we don't have equal access.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. All right, the next question, we're going to start with you, Ola. This is about small business recovery. Many small businesses and contractors in this district face inflation, labor shortages, and storm impacts. What specific tax relief, deregulation, or workforce policies would you champion to help them thrive?
Well, as a small business owner myself, I feel with every small business owner out there, and I see the struggles every day.
I'm happy to hear about property tax exemption. We shouldn't be paying for something we own, especially our homes. I know that will bring some relief, especially to businesses, to small businesses and small business owners. That's one thing that I'm totally for. More money in our pocket means more money in the economy, stimulating the economy, and that creates more jobs as well.
If you'll allow me one small anecdote, I had a voter come up to me recently saying that her daughter is a teacher in the schools around here, and she was frustrated because her daughter went to school, got an education, and is now a teacher that's employed. But she was frustrated because someone that her daughter knew, an HVAC employee, was making significantly more money than she was. And she said, that's not right. Why should she not making more money? She did the right thing and went to school and she got her degree. I'm sorry, but we must bring honor back to the trades. It is not wrong that someone who's working with their hands is making more money than a teacher. But I will also tell you that we have got to make our teachers capable of teaching people to go into fields that don't require a PhD. I believe that we must increase teacher pay inside of this district so that we can make sure that our students are being taught that you don't have to go to college to have a good job. You can have a good job by working with your hands and bringing business and infrastructure and energy and independence back to our country by reshoring all of our industries.
Taxes, my favorite subject. You know, there was a famous party in Boston over a 3% tax. How much does the government take? How much of your money does the government take these days? I don't even know what the number is. It's crazy, you guys. So I love to ask people, what's the one day in history where the Republic began to die? I'll give you a hint for my answer. February 3rd, 1913. It's the 16th Amendment that allowed the federal government to steal your money unconstitutionally. We must abolish that. We must abolish the IRS. We must abolish the federal income tax. It will supercharge the economy. It will rebalance the entire government system, and it will put you back in charge of your wallet, and back in charge of your family, and back in charge of your country. Thank you.
Address that teacher pay issue for a second. Thank you for bringing that up. When I first moved here in 1999, after 20 years in the Marine Corps, I wanted to be a teacher in Lee County. I actually went downtown and got an hour into the interview, wanted to be a high school teacher, high school wrestling coach, and got to the salary, and I said, no, I got 3 kids, I'm raising a family. I said, I cannot do that, so we've got to fix that. There's a lot of good people walking around this area that could be tremendous teachers, but they don't do it because of the salary. We got to fix that. But how many people here are small business owners? Raise your hands. Small business, that's a lot, okay? My brother's a small business owner over in Miami, Goodyear Tire and Auto Center. You know what he talks about all the time? It's the massive amounts of licenses, one after another, that he has to put up with. Why don't we have, instead of one size fits all, we have one license fits all? That's something I would push for. That stifles the small business owners. They fill one license out, they don't even need another one. All of a sudden they get somebody visiting their business, you need a license for this one. It's the same thing that I have for the state. Now you need one for the county, now you need one for the city. That's got to be fixed. I'll go back to what I talked about, common sense. We don't have common sense, we got to inject it back in.
Well, those of you who know me know that I'm about common sense solutions, not political rhetoric. This is a perfect example. Our IRS code has gotten so complex, most of us can no longer fill out our own tax return. So what I've talked about in many different ways is some type of a flat tax system. For example, no tax on the first $50,000 to $100,000 in earnings, and then a flat tax of approximately 12% on the next $50,000 to $100,000, and then above that, approximately a 23% flat tax. It would eliminate deductions, except perhaps for charity, but it would make things so much simpler. Now, I will admit that a lot of the accountants don't like that because that's a good part of their business. But it works for America. It makes sense. Common sense. It will save all kinds of effort and time for everybody and still produce the same type of revenue for the government while simplifying the whole system. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll try to condense this into three major areas. When I was at the U.S. Department of Commerce under President Trump, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act came out of the Department of Commerce. And the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act specifically was able to empower small businesses across the country. There was one in particular where they had a labor shortage. And because of the tax cuts they received, they were able to reappropriate that back into the business and start an apprenticeship program for the trades to ultimately help with the manufacturing. Number two, we need to focus on deregulation. There's incredible. You have 70,000 regulations. You need to hire a legal team. You've got all these different areas that are just completely putting a stranglehold on small businesses. We need to get government out of the way. We need to take on the bigs, big pharma. There's crony capitalism, the military-industrial complex. Big business is destroying our small business community. The government shouldn't be picking winners and losers. Everybody should have a shot at the American dream, and small businesses should be able to thrive. And most of all, we need to enact pro-growth economic policies. And right now, with government spending, we're not in that way. President Trump is doing an incredible job in pro-growth economic initiatives, and we need to continue that beyond a presidency.
So next up is coastal, river, and water management. We're going to start with Madison. Lee County is a great place to live. We are fortunate to have an intercoastal waterway that runs right through the middle of our county, as well as beautiful beaches and shorelines. These resources support our economy, our tourism, recreation, and our overall quality of life. What is the number one priority you'll have to protect and preserve our coastal waterways for today and future generations, and what specific actions will you take to achieve that?
It's demanding that we go back to regenerative farming and we stop spraying glyphosate all through our waterways that are destroying our ecosystem. Right now, whenever rainwater falls near Lake Okeechobee, because the big agriculture community is forcing farmers to fill their ground with so many chemicals so that they can be able to produce a crop, because we don't do regenerative farming anymore, those chemicals then wash out into our rivers that come this way. They then create algae blooms. They then create so many problems. And then when you look at what's going on inside of the Everglades, something that was given to us by God to clean our waters, the explosion of the pythons in that area have killed so many of the smaller animals who create natural dams that would clean the waterways for our water. I believe that our having fresh and clean water for our coastal areas is going to protect property prices, but it's also going to protect our health and our environment. And that will be my number one priority. I would love to be on the Natural Resources Committee to be able to combat that. Thank you.
Yes, like Madison said in Genesis, that God tells us to steward the earth, so it is very important, right? And water is our lifeblood in Florida. You know what I really want to do in Congress is, like I said, restrain these agencies that are getting in the way. And an agency I would really like to take a hard look at is the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I think there's a lot of issues there where they have turned that upside down and prevented states from properly managing their ecology and their natural resources. When I was asking Commissioner Chris Hall about this specific thing, he mentioned E404 permits that are required for managing things in the natural resources, and that was formerly a state government issued license, as it should be, and then the federal government took that over and gave it to the Army Corps of Engineers, full of bureaucracy and completely out of constitutional bounds. So my commitment to you on all of these issues, including protecting water and natural resources in Florida, is to make sure that Congress and federal government stays within its lane and allows the state and local governments to make local controlled decisions. Thank you.
I live on a brackish water canal. Last many years I've seen when there were releases and the water did turn the bad color that we did not want to have. Army Corps of Engineers, I think maybe I have more faith in them than so many people here. I will work closely with the Army Corps of Engineers, our water management agencies in Florida. We were actually on an upward trend on cleaning up our water. We really are. We got to have faith in that. I will support as best as I can from a representative level as far as funding. That will be my job. And again, I think we are on a positive trend. We've realized in the past what our issues are. The C-47, the 48 reservoirs, they have not had a flush yet. But we're getting there, and we're seeing the results of the positive efforts that our government agencies are. So sometimes we've got to have a little bit of faith and some time, and we are actually seeing some improvements. We just got to keep that going.
As Madison mentioned, agricultural phosphates are certainly a part of the problem, but they're not the whole problem. I've been working with Captains for Clean Water as well as the Everglades Trust to try to look at these problems and deal with these problems. Another part of the problem here in Lee County is due to septic systems. There is currently a program to bring all of the residents in Cape Coral into the municipal system. That is extremely important, and I will work with our federal government to provide grants to help some of the people, because it's costing $30,000 to $40,000 to now connect to the municipal system if you have a home in Cape Coral, and many of the people can't afford it. So this is something that makes a lot of sense for the government to be involved in. It will help people, and it will help the entire area.
Yeah, I would have to agree here with Jim. You know, it's not just the agricultural community. I actually spoke with a water specialist, and he said that the majority of particles that were found in the water were actually pharmaceuticals. So it's not just, you know, blame big ag on everything. They're under a lot of regulations as well, and they're very, you know, they have to be compliant at the end of the day. So we actually have to look at everything from a complex perspective. But look, I don't want the federal government to come here and save us all the time. We need to look at what we're doing from an innovative perspective. We've got a lot of innovative companies, businesses that want to address water quality issues. Why aren't we championing them, and why aren't we supporting them to solve it in an innovative and technologically advanced way? And on top of also making sure that the federal government is making sure that we're obviously, you know, disaster relief and things like that, but we need to solve it from a business perspective, first and foremost from the private sector. It wasn't government that invented cars, it was the private sector. Let's go back to the private sector helping us.
I've actually been a water activist my entire adult life, and some of those numbers are wrong about what's in the big, beautiful bill. They're actually $1.2 billion. What I've been working on with this utility extension project, I mean, we know the issues. It's finding solutions to the issues. Captains for Clean Water, and we had the Everglades restoration. So the federal government promised us $178 million to the Everglades restoration. It was already passed through Congress. Now to get that money and to make sure it's allocated, that's the problem. You know, we need a watchdog to make sure that the funds are used properly.
Okay, so we are going to move on to the one-on-one. We told you guys each candidate's going to draw, there's 2 number 1s, there's 2 number 2s, and 2 number 3s. Depending on who chooses those numbers, those 2 will face off on a question for those 2 candidates. So once they get their question, and then there's only a few of these questions, and then we're going to do a series of yes or no, really important questions, so you can get their position clearly, yes, no, on issues after that. If you have number 1, can you please raise your hand? You have oh, hey. Mr. Cawthorne and Mr. Strand. There you go. So for our 2 number 1 one-on-one questions. This is about VA services. Florida's 19th congressional district is home to one of the largest veteran populations in the nation. Recently, there has been discussion among congressional campaigns about the possibility of establishing a full-service VA medical facility in Cape Coral. Many veterans in Southwest Florida continue to experience challenges, including long wait times for health care, delays in disability claims processing, and limited access to specialized and mental health services. What are the current challenges and requirements involved in bringing a full VA hospital to our region? How would you evaluate and justify bringing one here? And what steps should be taken if one is needed? I know that's a lot.
No, I think it's one of the most worthwhile things in the entire world. Right now, we are valuing illegal immigrants in our country more than we are with our tax dollars, more than we are valuing our actual veterans. I believe that if we can afford to send our best and brightest young men and women to war, we should absolutely be able to afford to bring them home and give them the care they need. There is a commission that decides, I believe it's every 5 years they meet, and they decide which areas need a new VA hospital. Right now we have a clinic inside of our area. Now, because the Congress holds the power of the purse strings, there are a lot of levers that we can press on to be able to influence and make sure that we are able to get a VA hospital down inside of this area. You know, for too long, the VA medical system has looked at veterans as numbers and people on a piece of paper. Whereas I genuinely believe that we need to allow veterans to be able to go outside of the system if they need. Because right now we have a system that says, hey, here's some opiates, I hope you do okay. 22 veterans on average are killing themselves every single day. As a nation, we must do better.
Yeah, well said, Madison. Certainly agree with that. And to further Madison's point, the problem with the VA medical system is kind of the same problem as just about everything else the government tends to take over and control, is that they're just very inefficient and they restrict your ability to choose. So we need medical freedom in this country. And we need absolute medical freedom for our veterans. We need the absolute best care and the absolute maximum level of freedom and choice for our veterans, because they're the ones who actually live their lives down to give us that freedom. Right? But when it comes to a hospital and healthcare, this applies across the board for the healthcare system. It has been so corrupted by big pharma, big insurance, and big government control. And we need to unravel that and bring power and choice back to the people. There's a lot of ways to do that, but medical freedom is at the heart of how we solve that issue and unlock freedom for our veterans so that they get the care they actually deserve.
All right, who's got number 2? Who's our lucky winners there? Okay, all right, great. Well, this question is near and dear to my heart, so I hope you guys will appreciate this. It's related to agriculture. Agriculture remains one of Southwest Florida's largest economic drivers. However, in recent years, we have lost much of the beef and citrus industry. Federal regulations, labor shortages, citrus greening, invasive pests, and trade policies continue to challenge both citrus growers and cattle producers. What should Congress do to better support Florida agriculture? Take it, Mike.
Back up for 1 second. It's amazing that the only veteran up here didn't get the VA question. That kind of sucks. You know it's not rigged. I remember Florida when probably half of Florida was agriculture. That's the flavor of Florida. That's the heart and soul of Florida. I think at one point, Florida probably had more cattle than Texas there for a little while. So we have got to do, it's a balance. It's a balance on the growth. Massive growth, we just got to figure out how to balance it. We've got to start saying no to overdevelopment. There are parts of Florida, the animal corridor in the middle, we've got to preserve that. Again, if you look at the Florida at night, you'll understand what I'm talking about with the animal corridor right through the middle of the state. There's no lights there. We've got to figure out how to have a very good balance and keep the agriculture part of Florida. It is in our heart and soul.
As the only member of this group who actually has an agricultural background, my answer is probably going to surprise you. I don't believe it's government's job to protect those of us in the agricultural business. And you probably don't know it, but I actually owned a orange grove in Haines City for a number of years, again, like 30 years ago. It was a great experience for me. We did a pretty good job. But the key is, we're in a country that supports free enterprise, that supports competition. This is not something that the government is supposed to be providing subsidies for. So that may not be the right political answer, but it's the truth. And you will hear from me common sense solutions, not political rhetoric. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to assume number 3 is, yay! Okay, we did not plan that, I promise you. Fiscal responsibility. It was mentioned earlier about the 1979 national debt. The national debt during the Reagan era, when I was young, was $4 trillion. It is now approaching $40 trillion, while Florida continues to seek federal funding for infrastructure, disaster recovery, and water projects. How would you balance being a fiscal conservative with advocating for federal investments that directly benefit Southwest Florida?
It's a great question. You know, we need to go back to the Coolidge days where, you know, he had a bipartisan chamber where he was actually being able to be fiscally conservative. And now we live in an environment where we're $33 trillion in debt. I mean, this is ridiculous. We need to bring back Doge. We need to bring back Doge in every community, in every city. We need to make sure that Republicans are not voting on spending bills that are directly impacting illegal immigrants. I mean, look at the Somalian daycare fraud. Are you kidding me? This is where our taxpayer money is going all across the country. We need to make sure that we're itemizing every single item that where our taxpayer money is being sent to first and foremost. We need to get back on the debt. We need to, push back on the debt. And we don't have enough fiscal conservatives in office right now. I'd be proud to be a fiscal conservative because we're banking on the future. And right now, it's not looking good for your children or grandchildren's future if you have people that are spending our taxpayer money on illegal immigrants.
Well, I will sign on every bill that's for a spending cut, except when it comes to our military and ICE. We have to be fiscally disciplined to be fiscally responsible. And that's the problem. Washington, D.C. isn't. I mean, they expect us to, but Washington, D.C. isn't. We look at these entitlement programs, and you talk about fraud and abuse. There has to be accountability. In Washington, D.C., we have a government accountability office. They're not doing their job. They need to be held accountable. We have committees, like Judiciary Committee. For 6 months, the lady in charge, our congresswoman, was found with dementia. That's what Washington, D.C., that's what we have to work with. It's up to us, it's up to leaders to actually hold D.C. accountable. Make sure that the money that's coming in is allocated in the right resources. We need to be, again, fiscally disciplined.
We mentioned when we started this that Grant and I are from two pioneer families and both from Alva. And I just want to mention very quickly to everybody here, when the agriculture question came up about the citrus and beef industry, if you take a ride out to Alva right now, you will see a big swath of land with bags over citrus. And I just want to say, in a positive note, that we have been in conversation with UF, the IFAS program that studies and research our citrus industry, which we used to be leading in the country, in the state of Florida, and development and other reasons, and the greening cancer has diminished that significantly. But I will tell you that Dr. Burton and Dr. Alvarez, two leading researchers with IFAS, have said that they are more than halfway through the research of bringing the citrus industry back from at least some percentage to the state of Florida. So I just want to say that. That's very good news, you guys. We can champion that cause. So this is the fun part. We're going to do the yes and no's, and you get to see a clear side. Get on a side, guys. I made those paddles last night in my kitchen, so if the letters are falling off, just forget about it, okay? Yes is green, no is red. Here we go. Question number 1. These are rapid fire. You don't have time to think, just answer. Okay, I'm going to throw you a softball. This is an easy one, all right? Stretch, ready? Amanda. Should Congress require proof of citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections? Okay, that was so easy. All right, that was the only softball you get.
Right.
Now, all right.
Should Congress continue the H-1B visa program?
What was the question?
Should Congress continue the H-1B visa program?
Okay. Hey, it's tough, y'all. Should recreational marijuana be legalized under federal law? Get on a side.
Would you support expanding offshore oil and gas drilling in the Gulf of America off of the Lee and Collier coast?
Repeat the question.
Would you support expanding offshore oil and gas drilling in the Gulf of America off of the Lee and Collier coast? Woo! We did good. Go.
Do you believe current laws adequately protect Americans' privacy from expanding surveillance technologies such as flock cameras?
Cut them all down.
Make the Fourth Amendment great again.
That was a good one, y'all. Okay. Should Congress pass a comprehensive federal data privacy law?
Should Congress regulate artificial intelligence more aggressively?
Okay. Should Congress continue student loan forgiveness programs? Okay.
Do you support congressional term limits?
Do you have established relationships in D.C. that will help further priorities? Okay. All righty. Okay, y'all survived. Look at there.
Great job. Great job.
All right. We have one last question for each of the candidates, and you're going to get 1 minute to answer. And then we'll have closing remarks, which are 1 minute. This is the time that you have in front of voters to give us that last impression. The last question is, public confidence in Congress continues to decline. What reforms would you support? What reforms, specific reforms, would you support to improve transparency, accountability, and public trust in Congress? Oh, who are we starting with? John. Mr. Strand.
Lucky John.
Specific reforms. Well, we need to ban insider stock trading in Congress. That's just egregious. I think that would be a good place to start. And really, we need to be engaged in the primary election process. That's really the way to reform the conduct and trust in Congress, you guys. The war for America is waged at the primary election level, so if voters only show up in November, they've already lost. Thank you for being here and participating in that process. Each one of you needs to get to know your congressman and actually engage with them to hold them accountable. And if we really work from the ground up to put the right people in place, we're going to build a culture of trust, accountability, and integrity. And that's how we can restore trust in Congress. It's a long road, but I'm here to fight alongside you to start that process. Thank you so much.
I think the biggest issue is financial disclosures and Congress men and women, senators getting rich while they're in office. So for anything that can allow more financial disclosure, maybe once every 6 months, I don't care. It needs to be a lot clearer on the financial disclosures. If somebody had above a top secret clearance in the military, I'd love to have polygraph tests for I know that's kind of a pipe dream right there, but the main thing is a financial disclosure. No single stock trading. That's just totally ridiculous for someone in elected single stock trades. Stop that.
We need to pass Rick Scott's and Jim no budget, no pay, because when that happens, Congress is going to be working together, Republicans and Democrats working together for one goal, and that is they want to get paid. So they're going to have in working together to come up with that budget, and we'll have rhetoric. Right now, no matter what the Republicans say, the Democrats take the other side. Whatever the Democrats say, the Republicans take the other side. If this is the goal where they're working together, we're going to get good things done for our country. We'll end some of the crazy political rhetoric that's going on out there. Our country will move together. It's a win-win. It will help balance our budget, and it will help bring Congress together and restore respect for it among our voting public.
I'd have to agree with John Strand down there. We need to ban insider trading. I've been proud to be endorsed by Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna. She's one of the few fighters up there, and she actually has a bipartisan bill in Congress right now to ban insider trading. This is not a character attack, but unfortunately, two of our opponents one has been accused and one has been federally convicted of it. You know, why are people making money in Congress off of secrets that you and I don't know? That is unbelievable. We don't need career politicians up there getting rich off of their positions. That was not what our founders intended. We need to bring back that transparency. We need to pass that bill, and it needs to be passed in a bipartisan way. It's disgraceful that we don't have enough people passing that bill, because why? They want to get rich, stay in office for 30, 40, 50 years off of you guys. It's ridiculous. Ban insider trading.
Well, we need to definitely reform entitlement programs, all of them. Thanks to Obama and the IRA under the Biden administration, the fraud and the abuse, the numbers are through the roof. Again, going back to the Government Accountability Office, 9 out of 10 audits done were fraud. It's not right. We need to reform every entitlement program and get rid of, some of them, illegals are taking advantage of it, and that's just a big no, so.
You know, I want to see a restart to the House Committee on Anti-American Affairs. We need to start hunting down communist activity inside of our country, people pushing for Sharia law, people getting elected saying that they want to make America into a socialist nation. My friends, we have to make sure that only Americans are voting in our elections, because when you see that, you realize that every 2 years we have the opportunity for a bloodless revolution. If we elect a bunch of America First patriots who are here to take the jobs and remove the power of the federal government, people will start looking at their government again and saying, I'm proud to be an American. My friends, it is our job and it is our duty. We were born for such a time as this to reform the way that the Leviathan of the federal government works and crushes the everyday American. It is up to every single one of us to stand up to them and stop them. My friends, it is our day. It is our duty. We will save this republic.
Guys, thank you, thank you. Okay, we are going to wrap up. They're going to get 1 minute to end the evening and explain to you in their best 60 seconds why they should earn your vote. I just want to note that there was a lot of different answers tonight for the questions, which is very good. There wasn't a lot of repetitiveness, so that's a wonderful thing, because people can actually engage and decide how they want to choose, because I do believe sitting here is quite possibly our next congressman or congresswoman. So, yeah, that's great. 1 minute. I'm gonna. How do we do this? We're started. We're trying to be fair, you guys.
Yeah, do you want to start?
John. Okay. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back in alphabetical order. Not because y'all said so. I'm just kidding.
She's in charge.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm going to get it for that. Madison, would you please give us your last 1 minute? And please stay around for the straw poll after. We're going to do a quick straw poll. Before you go, I want to say a few things about that. Please note that it's an informal, non-binding poll for those in attendance and intended solely as a fun way to engage audience impressions. Following this debate, it is not an official election, and it does not represent the views of the East Lee County Republican Club or the Lee GOP, but I would like to remind you that this was hosted by the East Lee County Republican Club. Thank you. I just want to remind everybody, and we will read the top two. We're going to, as soon as it's over, as soon as they're done, we're going to pass those cards out. I ask that you take the pen, get a pen ready, write the name, fold it in half, and we're going to collect it right back. After the candidates come down and talk to you for a few minutes, we will then, once we tally them, announce the top two. I would like for you to base those decisions on what you saw tonight. Thank you, and may the best man or woman win this seat. Closing remarks. Thank you all.
This debate right here is a job interview, and there are people in this race who are too cowardly to sit in front of you and answer difficult questions. That person's name is Terry Miller. He has a puppet who is running inside of this race named Jim Schwartzel, a person who is unwilling to come and answer difficult questions for you. Someone who fired a great meteorologist, Matt Devitt, but instead kept someone on his staff who said that the Charlie Kirk assassination was a waste of a bullet. My friends, the only reason this person has a chance inside of this race is because of super PACs and dark money. My friends, we have got to stop super PACs and big corporations from buying our politicians. I have been to Washington, D.C. I have fought against the machine and the establishment. My friends, it is not the Republicans or the Democrats that are the enemy. It is the uniparty. It is on both sides of the aisle. We need to send someone to Washington, D.C. who, when they offer him power, when they offer him money, he will say no, and he will fight for only you and no one else. America first, America only.
Okay. We all love our America, and some of us are freedom fighters, but not everyone is qualified to be your next congressperson. In fact, I don't know what some of these candidates do for a living. And I don't know how relatable it is to being your next congressperson. These are important questions to ask. This is what I do every day in Washington, D.C. I know how to write legislation. I know how to navigate the appropriation process. I know how to draft bills, and I know how to create coalitions to benefit our district. That's what Florida 19 needs. A leader that understands Washington, D.C. and understands the issues that are going on in our own district, and what are solutions to them. Ola for Congress, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all again for being here. It's, again, the fact that you guys spent your night here listening to us all is exactly what our founders envisioned when they created the greatest experiment known to man of freedom. And it's because of you all in here that freedom is going to be preserved. You know, I feel one day it's not going to just say Republican and Democrat on the ballot. It's going to say patriots versus communists. And unfortunately, we're getting to that point in time. So I ask you all that, I'm sure a lot of you already know who you're voting for in this room. That's kind of been clear. But I ask you all that when you go into the ballot box, you think of your grandchildren's future. What's the America that you want to leave for them? Those choices that our founders made 250 years ago impact us today. And the choices that we make and who we elect in leadership are going to impact the future that your grandchildren inherit. We want an American dream. We don't want an American nightmare. We don't need people in Congress who are there to self-serve themselves on a redemption tour, get rich off of insider trading. We need patriots now. You have 62% of millennials who believe in communism. We need America First patriots, and I'd be proud to be that person to you all.
Friends, the one thing I hope you remember about me when you leave tonight is common sense solutions, not political rhetoric. That's what I'll fight for. That's what I've done my whole life. I've built businesses from nothing to nationally recognized brands. I will get things done in Washington that perhaps nobody else can do. I will also fight to get control of our national budget. This is a birthday present that my daughter got me for my most recent birthday. You probably can't see it out there, but it's the national debt clock, and it is actually updating every second. It is now well over $39 trillion. And in my business of financial services and managing money, we talk about black swan events, some surprise occurrence that can create financial distress, causing much higher rates of inflation and much higher interest rates. Bad for our country. I'm going to fight to make sure that doesn't happen.
I know who our enemies are. Communist China, Russia, they have more nukes than we do. Radical Islamic jihad. And the Democrat Party. I know that. send a Marine to support you and fight. I know what my job will be. It will bring your tax money, your dollars, back to support our county commissioners and our city council leaders. That will be my job. I promise you, accountability, we heard tonight, fight, common sense. I brought all those words up. Send a Marine to represent you. I will fight. I'm the only one up here that was willing to give my life, probably about 8 times, to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I'm in a perfect spot in my life to represent you. Thank you.
You guys, thanks for being here. I'm John Strand, Patriot for Congress, and we live in the greatest nation in the history of the world. And that is because America is a people, it is a place, and it is a promise that we are one nation under God. And our founders promised us that the Constitution they designed is only adequate for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate for the government of any other. If we do not return to our foundational promise, we will not survive. But you guys, we can survive. We have an opportunity right now. I did not know why God sent me to prison, allowed me the government to crush me, but He taught me that He will always be faithful if we turn to Him. And we have a moment right now. If you are sick of the corruption and big money in politics, you feel like these things are always rigged, join the fight with us at johnstrand.com, because we have an incredible opportunity to send a proven patriot in Congress. You've seen me fight, and I will never stop fighting for you. God bless you and your families. That's what we fight for, and thank you for participating in the American experiment. She will live.
All right, let's give them all a big round of applause for participating tonight. It's a great group of people. Appreciate your time. Appreciate all of you being here and caring about this. I'm just going to make a couple announcements about some future candidate forums that we're having. The League GOP is holding a candidate forum on Saturday, July 18th at Florida Southwestern University. Doors open at 2. The event starts at 3. It's for all Republicans that are running for office in Lee County. I would encourage you to attend. On August 5th at the League GOP headquarters, we have a candidate forum as well. You're invited to attend that event. That starts at doors open at 5:30 to 7. And follow our Facebook, Lead GOP. You'll keep up with all the updates and also get attached to our newsletter. Thank you so much, and we're turning it over to Amanda for the straw poll.
Thank you to Grant Fichter. My name is Amanda Cochran. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to Madison Cawthorne, Ola Hawatma, Catalina Lauf, Jim Oberweis, Mike Pedersen, and John Strand. Wait about 15 minutes and we'll have that answer. I appreciate you guys. Meet with them, talk to them.
Yeah, model. Yeah.
Where's the... Check.
Yeah, only one
Check.
model. See? Channel 2.
Yeah, it's mono.
Mono. It's okay lah.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Check. Testing. Check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Check. Testing. Yeah. CCN Florida. CCN Florida. Here. I don't do that. Okay. Then don't do it. Ready? Jim, how's it going? Can we get a quick interview?
Sure. Who are you with?
Coastal Conservative News. I'm Camden.
Okay.
And how? Overwatch. All right. Welcome back to Coastal Conservative News. We just wrapped up the congressional debate for District 19. I'm here with Jim Oberweis. Thank you so much. Oberweis. Thank you so much for being with us today. How did you feel the debate went?
Well, I think it was fine, but unfortunately, this wasn't really a debate. For the most part, it was what they call a forum, where you ask a few questions, but everybody can come out with political rhetoric. If you really want to debate, we have to have limited to maybe the top 2 or 3 people, so that you can have back and forth and you can find out what people actually know instead of who can quote the common red meat political rhetoric.
What would you like to have spoken about to a specific candidate if you were in a debate with just 1 or 2?
Say that again.
What would you like to have spoken about if you could have just an opportunity like that?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what other people think we can do to solve our national debt. To me, this is a huge problem that is just not being addressed. At some point in the future, if we don't solve the unsustainable growth, we're going to have a financial disaster as we had in the late 70s. So it's got to happen, and it's got to happen sooner rather than later.
How do we solve that crisis if you do get elected, if the people select you for District 19?
Well, there are a lot of things. Number one, we need to stop all payments to illegal aliens. SNAP benefits, unemployment comp, Social Security, Medicare, everything. And secondly, we need to pass the no budget, no pay proposed by Senator Rick Scott on the Senate side and me on the House side. We'll work together. It's going to be a tough struggle, but we're going to do our very best to make that happen. That will solve a lot of problems right there. If we have to have a balanced budget and people don't get paid if they don't do it, we'll get there.
Last question for you. A lot of people that have watched this, maybe they're still undecided after watching the forum. What do you have to say to that undecided voter and why they should choose you in August?
I'm the only candidate that has, number one, significant business experience creating very successful national businesses. Number two, I have legislative experience. Only 1 or 2 of the other opponents have even that. And number three, significant philanthropical experience. I've supported all kinds of wonderful groups here in Southwest Florida, all the way from Habitat for Humanity, St. Matthew's House, Harry Chapin Food Bank, and many, many more. And we'll continue to do that.
Jim, thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with some more interviews. Thank you. All right, we're back with more coverage and interviews here at the District 19 debate. I'm here with Charles, right?
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
It's going great.
How do you think that debate went? You're a Catalina supporter. How do you think she did tonight?
Oh, I think Catalina killed it, man. She's quick with her answers. You can tell that she's authentic with everything that she says. I think the rest of the candidates performed extremely well. You know, I mean, we're all Republicans at the end of the day, so we're going to own that. But I really do think, all bias aside, no horse in this race, Catalina won this debate tonight.
And so how do voters choose her? What's your message to those undecided ones after watching this? Maybe they still have questions about who to choose. Why Catalina?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of different demographics that are going to vote in the primary election, but I think if you're older, 65 and older, I think you're looking at somebody that's going to fight for your grandkids and your future of your communities. I think if you're younger in that 35 to 45 age, you want somebody that's going to ensure that your future is solid in America. When you go younger than that, you need to know that you have a rock-solid core to your government. You have a fighter in place ensuring that you're not going to be 50, 60 years old with nothing to your name.
Yeah. What do you think was the most important issue discussed tonight?
I would say when they tackled local issues, because I feel like a lot of times, candidates can fall into the issue of only focusing on federal issues, but your congressperson, your congresswoman or man should be a champion for your local government. And I think they actually touched local issues, which they hadn't done at any debate that I've been to so far. So I'm very happy, and that's props to the East Lee GOP that focused on local issues rather than letting the federal debacle run on.
Yeah, we just spoke to Jim, one of the candidates, and he said he would have liked to have seen a debate with just like a few candidates that they could really go face to face. Is that something you would like to see in the future?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, but I mean, I think that it's the timing of it. Vote by mail ballots are almost here, and this district traditionally votes about 70% vote by mail year in and year out. So this is probably the last debate that they could put on a good show for before those vote by mail ballots arrive in the election, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that Catalina did enough tonight to convince those undecided voters to vote in August for her?
I do 100%. I mean, she proved it up there with just the way she tackled the issues. You can kind of just tell that she means what she says. She's not just tagging like the taglines like some other candidates might be. Yeah. She's really focused on what's wrong and how you solve it rather than this is what's wrong, applause, nothing more. No
awesome.
substance.
Charles, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Incredible this evening.
Live, Amanda Cawthorne, you were moderating the debate tonight. How do you feel the whole event went?
Oh, I was pleased with the turnout. I was pleased with the candidates' responses. I think, like I said on the stage, they gave different answers. So we got a real chance to see their views on things to help us decide. It was a great night.
Yeah, even in the Republican Party, we're going to have different perspectives on things here as well. So why do you think it's so important that we do debates like this to give, voters a chance to have a voice in picking who they want to be their primary candidate?
Because I think commercials and social media can kind of give you the honeymoon phase and your best foot forward. Yeah. But here they have to be off the cuff and they have to answer without knowing what the questions are. So that gives us a real world look at how they're going to be representing us in Congress. So it's a much more real look at who they are and how they answer.
Yeah, and one of the questions you actually gave them the opportunity to, have one thing they may have had a mischaracterization about. Absolutely. And answer that.
Absolutely.
Can you explain to us the importance of questions like that for the voters to see? Maybe it's not the same thing as they see on TV or on a social media ad.
That question was very important because I think in politics, people get characterized in certain ways, and there's a lot of money spent to sway voters. I call that engineered messaging.
Yes.
So this gives them the opportunity in front of the public to correct those records and set the record straight.
Yep, and we're here 6 weeks away from the primary now, basically. What's next? Where do we go from here heading into that election, and why do people need to vote in the primaries and not wait till November?
Oh, because that's what this country is built on, getting out, using our voice to choose our representatives. 100%, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Also conservative news. Yeah, you're good. Madison Cawthorne, thank you so much for being here. We love the debate. We got a chance to hear from all the candidates. How do you feel you did tonight?
I think it went really well. I think my opening statement could have been a little more succinct, but we really got to talk about a lot of issues. They asked it, do we think we should get rid of, the federal, on marijuana, federal regulations on that? Do we believe in offshore drilling? Which, obviously we don't want an offshore rig in our backyard, but if we believe in American energy dominance, then we have to stand up for that. I love the local questions to be able to see, where the differences were with people.
Yeah, and then so they actually did a straw poll here with everyone that was in the audience, and you were the declared winner here. So how do you think that speaks to the support you have going into this primary?
So, I will say, I think that if we had the opportunity for every single voter in an idealistic world to sit down and interview every candidate, candidate, we would win with 80% of the vote. And so the main message is really to our volunteers and the people supporting us is help us get our message out. We are going up against so much super PAC money that these people are able to dominate the airways. Yeah. And, you know, we've done really well on fundraising. We raised over $1 million. But unfortunately, they're raising $4, $5, $6, and $7 million. And so, you know, it's really comes down to the individual to be so engaged that you can defeat that. Because it comes down to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a rapid fire round where they asked a bunch of questions, and one of them was about student loan forgiveness. Yes. And you put up the yes panel. You want to continue that?
No, I meant to put up a no. Okay. I want to be very clear about that.
Okay, we want to clarify.
I meant to put up a no on that. It was just I was not paying attention.
Okay, so you wouldn't continue that then?
I would not. No, I don't think that it should be my job, someone that didn't go to college, to have to pay for your degree in underwater basket weaving. It's insane.
Something important you got to talk about was veterans and the suicide rate right now. How can we do better for veterans if you get elected?
Well, one, I think that they should be an honored class in our society. Number two, you know, I can understand, especially during the global war on terror, we went to war on a lie. You know, like Saudi Arabia men supposedly came and hit our towers and took them down, even though jet fuel can't melt beams at that temperature. But then we went to war with Iraq and Afghanistan. It doesn't make any sense. I really think it all came down to just, you know, trying to do these forever wars to enrich, you know, one, making sure that central banks can always get paid because they're funding both sides. But two, you know, the military-industrial complex. That's why I'm so excited about companies like Anduril, who are flipping that on its head, saying, hey, we have products, we're the gun store for America, instead of saying, hey, give me $500 billion, and then I'll be 10 years late giving you a weapon system.
Last question for you. I know you talked a lot tonight, so one more question. For the undecided voters who just watch this, they're still on the edge trying to figure out who to pick for District 19. Why should they choose you? What makes you stand out?
So number one, I've already been to Congress. I will carry that seniority, which will give me an ability to have better committee seats. Two, I have a lot of friends that I've helped get connected as a national figure who can help me push legislation. Because you can have the bravest person in Washington, D.C., but if he can't get over 235 votes, nothing gets passed. And so I have the ability to build coalitions and be able to get the job done by, you know, enlisting the support of the everyday American to add pressure to these spineless cowards in Washington. And number three, you know, I've been tested both in my car accident and persevering through that. And two, the establishment hates me, and people only fire at bombers that are over the target, and they know we're over the target. It's our time, it's our generation. We are going to take this, and we are going to undo what, you know, the last 3 generations have done and damage to our country.
Madison Cawthorne, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for debating. We love to see it.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. And guys, thank you for tuning into our coverage tonight on Coastal Conservative News. We hope you enjoyed the live debate and all of the commentary. We've been able to do some interviews. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow us. We're going to be covering more events live coming very soon, whatever's next, because we're only 6 weeks away from the primary. So stay tuned. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, and make sure you follow us.